If you thought Doctor Strange was part of the Justice League, you'd be wrong. Welcome to Comic Book Editions Volume 175. Today it's a JLA Haul Part 4, the final part of JLA comic books that I picked up from Silver Age Dave. Plus I'm going to share with you an exciting plan for my Justice League of America collecting. I put a game plan in place and I'll share that with you later on in today's video. Thanks again for stopping by, and let's get started sharing some books. Today we'll start out with Justice League of America, Volume 1, Issue number 87. The books I'm going to share in today's video were all published between 1971 and 1974. So this is a 1971 book. In this story, some aliens come down, and the first two superheroes that they run into are Batman and Hawkman. They affect Batman with power madness and paranoia. They affect Hawkman with numbing fear, so he's unable to do anything about it. So the other JLA essentially have to battle Batman in this story. We have a great Neal Adams cover, and you're going to see many Neal Adams covers in this run of Justice League comic books I'm going to share in today's video. The story was a little bit out there too. I think at one point the Justice League even end up faking their own death, but remember, this is very early Bronze Age, which is close enough to DC Silver Age, which can be a little bit out there sometimes. The next story up is issue 88. And this is my favorite cover, I think, out of everything that I'm going to show you in today's video. I think it's because Mera is on the cover. It's the first time that Mera was featured on a Justice League cover. She would go on to be featured on two other Justice League covers later on before Volume 1 wrapped up, more in the Copper Age portion of the Justice League. And I started to think, gee, 3 covers isn't very much to be featured on. But then when I stopped and thought about it, Lois Lane and Steve Trevor weren't featured on any Justice League of America covers, so she fared a lot better than they did. In this issue, the Batman Black Canary romance is once again addressed. You might remember in my Comic Book Editions Volume 171 video, I was talking about an issue where Batman and Black Canary kiss. So this is brought back up, and I think it's the last time it's ever mentioned. Green Arrow kind of has some suspicions that something might be going on between Batman and Black Canary, but Black Canary puts his fears to doubt and says, oh, I just love him like he's one of my brothers. And then they never kind of brought that up again. And Batman seemed a little bit stunned when he heard her say that too. So it sounded like he kind of took that a little bit more serious than she did. But it was nice to see them revisit that at least one more time. In this story, the inhabitants of the continent Mu, M-U, return to the planet Earth. They had taken off before Earth kind of became repopulated, and they're looking at the planet. Of course, there's fear, and it's not the Justice League that end up being able to calm the fears and take care of these people from the continent Mu, who moved off of the planet and then came back. It was 3 ordinary citizens. So that's kind of where you get the cover image from. I like this cover image so much I made it the thumbnail for today's video. Then up next, we have Justice League of America, issue number 72. I love this cover too. Another great Neal Adams cover. One thing that I was kind of mistaken about, I thought that Denny O'Neil was writing all of these stories at this time period. He certainly had started writing some stories, in the 70s, issue number wise, in the 70s of the Justice League. But it's a guy named Friedrich, possibly. I'm not really that familiar with him. His storytelling it's all right. It's not as good or as strong maybe as a Denny O'Neil. I still do end up overall enjoying the stories, but the writing is a touch weaker than before. Robin's costume, he sports a new costume in here, and he talks about, this is Robin of Earth 2, I should mention, and he talks about how he knows this costume designer named Neal Adams, who designed this for him. And this costume kind of makes its only appearance. They asked the readers to write in with their feedback on what they thought of this costume. And later on, when Robin would appear in All-Star Comics with the Super Squad, when they brought that back in the Bronze Age, he wore a similar costume to this, but it was tweaked a little bit too. Love Solomon Grundy. Just thought overall this was a fun book. There's also, besides the original story, there's 2 reprints in this issue. There's a reprinted story from Flash 158 and then Mystery in Space issue 29. When it comes to the reprints in the back, I just tend to lose interest in them. Like I start to read them and I get bored with them awful fast. So, but I really more into the main stories. But I try to read everything that's in the comic book because you never know if you discover something that you already own that maybe you end up enjoying and not knowing you would have. You got to give it a shot. And I own it already, so why not? I was always like that with like my DVDs and Blu-rays and stuff too. I'd watch every special feature that was on the movie. I would just make sure that I consumed every part of it. That's probably just how I'm programmed. Issue 93. This is another giant Justice League book, and this one is just reprints. We have an original Dick Giordano cover, though, and it reprints Justice League of America issue 13 and Justice League of America issue 18, I believe. And those 2 stories, nothing original in there except for the cover. Justice League did a lot of earlier issue reprints around this time period too, and they did like a lot of giant issues, and you'll see some more 100-page giants and stuff too as we go on with the video. Issue 98 is up next. We're in 1972 right now. We have the return of Sargon the Sorcerer. So I remember in Justice League of America 51, Zatanna was reunited with Sargon finally with the help of the Justice League. I think I covered that in my Comic Book Editions Volume 167 video. So Sargon's back, but this time he's a villain, or at least he comes across as villainous in this story, which I didn't remember before. I always remembered Sargon the Sorcerer, Zatanna's father, as a good guy. But he's back in the story, and then they also do a reprint at the end of a Sargon story that came from Sensation Comics issue 70. Then there's a Starman reprint as well from Adventure Comics issue 92, also put in this book. We'll fast forward another year and we'll go up to issue number 108. This is 1973 with a Nick Cardy cover. So I had issue 107. I bought that and still have it in my collection. I bought it as a back issue when I was a childhood collector. That's the first appearance of the Freedom Fighters together as a group, although a lot of the Golden Age characters obviously appeared as solo superheroes in different adventures back in the Golden Age. But the first appearance banded together as the Freedom Fighters was in the previous issue. So this would be the second appearance of the Freedom Fighters, continuing another JLA JSA team up that this time also included the Freedom Fighters. This cover's all right. Kind of gives you a challenge of the Super Friends intro vibe, doesn't it? Kind of at the end. This would be before the challenge of the Super Friends cartoon actually debuted, so this one actually would have come first. And then in issue 112 from 1974, it's the final book that I have to show today, a Nick Cardy cover once again. Here we have a 100-page giant, and I mentioned before, I think it was in my last Justice League Haul video, Comic Book Editions Volume 171, how these covers, which are very busy, I never can remember what cover goes to what issue or which ones I have or which ones that I need. This does an original story as well. We have the return of Amazo. And then we have a reprint of the 7 Soldiers of Victory from Leading Comics issue 2. There's a Starman reprint from Adventure Comics. I think it was issue 81. And then Justice League of America Volume 1 issue 19 is reprinted in this story as well. So all of that coming together in this big old 100-page giant. Before I wrap this up, I actually just want to jump back a minute because I remembered there was something about this issue that I wanted to mention, issue 98, that I just thought was funny, and I'm glad that I didn't forget to mention this. At one point during the fight, the heroes all break up into teams and go to tackle different things. They're all trying to get all the gemstones. Sargon has one of the gemstones. He needs the other ones to reunite them all together. So the heroes bust off into groups to go to get them. Aquaman and Black Canary are together working as a team, and they're fighting. And at one point, Black Canary's wig flies off. I thought that was kind of funny. And her brunette hair is revealed, and for a moment they mistake her to be somebody else. And she kind of plays upon that for a quick moment too. But that's just something that a lot of people even forget, that Black Canary is wearing a blonde wig. So I thought that was funny that they went back and addressed that in that story. So I just wanted to add that along for the funsies of it, because it is funsies to mention. Before I tell you this exciting thing about my plan for my future Justice League of America collecting, I want to thank Silver Age Dave for selling these books to me. He's in the process of liquidating some, or just trimming back some of his collection. I feel honored that he gave me great prices on these. He was an awesome person to deal with, and I'm very happy with what I got. And as I told them too, I said, these are for my personal collection. I'm not just trying to get books from you at a cheap price so I can flip them. I wanted to have these. And you saw throughout all these 4 videos, we started with comic book editions, volume, 163 is where we started this JLA haul. 163, 167, 171, and now 175. I got a huge chunk of Justice League of America comic books off of my want list, which feels great, which takes me into my plan. I have a 3-year plan now, because I only need 36 more Justice League of America comic books. So I've decided to go for 12 issues a year for the next 3 years. I don't actually think that I'm going to get one a month. What will probably happen is I'll get like 2 or 3 at one time, and then I won't get any for a few months. That's just the way that I think things kind of work out. It doesn't matter what issues, just as long as there's some out of the 36 issues that I need. But that's my plan, my 3-year plan to wrap up this volume, because I'm only 36 issues away. And, I already have a JLA 1, I have a JLA 2, I have a JLA 3. Out of the first dozen issues, I think I'm only missing 2 out of the first 12 issues. So haven't really thought so much about their pre-JLA appearances in Brave and the Bold. Haven't really given that any thought. I'm just more concentrated and focused on this. What do you think about that as a game plan? I'd love for you to leave me a comment below and let me know what your thoughts are on this. I'd love for you to leave me a comment below. Let me know if you have any of these books, if you're looking for any of these books, what your favorite cover was. We can dialogue about all of that information and more in the comment section below. So also, I'm probably going to be wrapping up my comic book editions videos with this one for the year. Just take, a good month, 4 to 6 weeks off or so. Just recharge a little bit. And I want to take this opportunity to thank you again for your friendship and wish you a happy holiday season, and wish you a successful, happy, and healthy, and blessed 2024. You guys mean the world to me. Now, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, help a brother out. I would love that if you would. Make sure to subscribe, click the notification bell so you know when new content is added. Sharing this channel with someone that you think might enjoy it or might subscribe would be another great way to show some support. Give the video a thumbs up too. All the things that help the algorithm out. I certainly appreciate everything you do for me. Have a fantastic rest of your 2023. I'll see you in 2024, and I look forward to, who knows what some adventures or some of the awesome books that I might end up getting in my collection next year will be. But I enjoy going on this journey together with you, and I thank you for allowing me to be part of your day. Take care, and I'll see you soon. Oh, don't forget too, even though I'm taking the rest of the year off from the comic book editions, the next 4 to 6 weeks off or so, I'm still going to be doing the back issue of the week short. So you can always find that on my channel. That drops Monday mornings at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, 10:30 a.m. Central. 60 seconds about a comic book that I have in my personal collection. So look for those, and I'll see you next year. Take care.